the aurora-like glow of Meridian General Hospital's bioluminescent corridors cast shifting patterns across Dr. Zena Valthera's crystalline skin as she walked through the medical center for the first time. Her translucent, gem-like features caught and refracted the light in prismatic displays that marked her as one of the vegan crystallines, a species known throughout the galaxy for their extraordinary sensory abilities and precise, analytical minds. Zena's three-chambered heart pulsed with nervous energy as she approached the human medical wing. Unlike her aquatic colleague from the previous year's program, Zena's people were silicon-based beings who could detect electromagnetic fields, thermal variations, and bioelectric patterns invisible to most other species. This unique sensitivity had made her exceptionally gifted in diagnostics during her studies at the Galactic Medical Institute, where she had graduated summa cum laude in xenobiology. "Dr. Valthera?" A warm voice called out as a middle-aged human woman approached with a welcoming smile. "I'm Nurse Patricia Valdez, your orientation supervisor. We're absolutely thrilled to have you join our team." Patricia had been working in interspecies medicine for over 15 years and had guided dozens of alien medical professionals through their first experiences with human patients. Her kind eyes and patient demeanor had earned her a reputation as one of the best mentors in the facility. "Thank you, Nurse Valdez," Zena replied, her voice carrying the musical, chime-like quality characteristic of her species. "I've been preparing for this opportunity for months. Your facility's reputation for excellence in cross-species care is renowned throughout the vegan system." As they walked through the ward, Patricia explained the various monitoring systems and treatment protocols specific to human physiology. Zena's large, multifaceted eyes absorbed every detail, her electromagnetic senses automatically cataloging the bioelectric signatures of the various medical devices humming throughout the facility. "One thing you'll notice," Patricia explained, as they passed several patient rooms, is that human biology can be quite different from what you might expect based purely on textbook knowledge. We found that hands-on experience is invaluable for alien medical staff." Zena nodded thoughtfully, her crystalline skin shifting to a deeper blue hue that indicated intense concentration among her people. She had spent countless hours studying human anatomy, physiology, and pathology, but she understood that theoretical knowledge could only take her so far. "Your first patient should be straightforward," Patricia continued, handing Zena an electronic chart. "Room 247. Marcus Webb, 28-year-old human male, came in yesterday evening with acute lower back pain radiating down his left leg. He's a mechanic who was working under a vehicle when he felt something pop in his spine." Zena reviewed the preliminary assessment on her tablet, noting the symptoms that suggested a possible herniated disc with nerve compression. This was exactly the type of musculoskeletal injury she had studied extensively, and she felt confident in her ability to provide excellent care. Marcus Webb was indeed a mechanic, evident from his calloused hands and the faint scent of engine oil that even the hospital's sanitization procedures couldn't completely eliminate. He lay on his side in the adjustable bed, his face creased with discomfort despite the mild pain medication he'd received upon admission. When Zena entered the room, Marcus looked up with curious but friendly eyes. Living in an interspecies society had made most humans comfortable with alien healthcare providers, and Marcus had specifically requested the hospital's xenobiology program when his insurance offered the option. "Good morning, Mr. Webb," Zena said professionally, her prismatic skin catching the morning light streaming through the window. "I'm Dr. Valthera, and I'll be your primary physician during your stay. I understand you're experiencing significant back pain that's affecting your mobility." "That's putting it mildly, Doc," Marcus replied with a grimace as he tried to shift position. "Feels like someone's driving a red-hot poker through my spine and down my leg. I've never experienced anything like this before." Zena began her standard assessment, using her electromagnetic sensitivity to detect the bioelectric patterns associated with nerve inflammation and muscle tension. Her readings confirmed the preliminary diagnosis she could literally sense: the disrupted neural pathways and the irregular electromagnetic signatures indicating compressed nerve tissue. The examination proceeded smoothly as Zena tested Marcus's reflexes, range of motion, and pain responses. Her unique sensory abilities allowed her to create a detailed bioelectric map of his injury, providing insights that traditional human diagnostic methods might miss. Everything seemed perfectly routine until Zena asked Marcus to perform a specific movement to test his spinal flexibility. That's when her electromagnetic senses detected something that would challenge everything she thought she knew about human medicine. As Marcus shifted into the required position for the spinal assessment, Zena's electromagnetic senses suddenly detected an alarming surge of bioelectric activity in an entirely unexpected region of his anatomy. Her crystalline skin flashed from blue to a startled amber as her sensitive receptors picked up what appeared to be rapid vascular changes and unusual neural firing patterns in his pelvic area. "Mr. Webb," Zena said, trying to keep her voice steady while her internal sensors continued registering the anomalous readings, "I'm detecting some concerning bioelectric signatures that weren't present during your initial assessment. Are you experiencing any new symptoms or sensations?" Marcus, focused on the shooting pain in his back and completely unaware of what Zena's unique senses were detecting, shook his head. "Just the same back pain, Doc. Maybe a little worse when I move like this, but nothing else that I can tell." Zena's multifaceted eyes widened as her electromagnetic perception continued to monitor the intensifying bioelectric patterns. According to her extensive medical training, such rapid changes in vascular flow and neural activity could indicate anything from a severe allergic reaction to a dangerous cardiovascular event. The readings were unlike anything in her xenobiology textbooks. Her crystalline skin shifted to a deep purple hue, indicating extreme concern among her species. She had studied hundreds of case histories involving human medical emergencies, and several conditions could potentially cause sudden bioelectric surges in the pelvic region: blood clots, severe infections, or even rare neurological complications related to spinal injuries. "I need to perform a more thorough examination," Zena announced, her chime-like voice taking on an urgent quality. "Please remain as still as possible while I take additional readings." As she moved her hands closer to conduct a detailed electromagnetic scan, the bioelectric signatures became even more pronounced. Her sensors detected increased blood flow, elevated neural activity, and what appeared to be rapid tissue changes. Every indicator in her medical knowledge suggested this was a serious emergency requiring immediate intervention, Marcus noticed. The change in Zena's demeanor and the shifting colors of her crystalline skin. "Doc, is everything okay? You look worried about something." "Mr. Webb, I need you to stay calm," Zena replied, her analytical mind racing through differential diagnosis. "I'm detecting some unusual physiological changes that may be related to your spinal injury or could represent a separate medical emergency. I need to consult with my supervisor immediately." The bioelectric readings were now so intense that Zena's electromagnetic sensitivity was almost overwhelming her. Her species' natural ability to detect electromagnetic fields, which had made her such a gifted diagnostician, was now flooding her with data she couldn't properly interpret. "I'll be right back," she assured Marcus, who was now looking genuinely concerned. "Please don't move from this position until I return." Zena practically ran down the corridor toward Dr. Helena Reeves' office, her crystalline skin cycling through various shades of purple, amber, and red as her stress levels elevated. Her three-chambered heart was pumping rapidly, and her electromagnetic senses continued to replay the alarming readings she had detected. Dr. Helena Reeves was reviewing morning reports when she heard urgent knocking on her office door. As the head of the human medical ward, she had 20 years of experience in interspecies medicine and had seen her share of diagnostic challenges. But the panic in Zena's chiming voice was unmistakable. "Dr. Reeves, I need your immediate assistance." Zena burst through the door, her usually pristine appearance disheveled from her hurried journey. "I have a patient experiencing what appears to be a severe medical emergency, and I'm not certain how to proceed." Helena set down her coffee and gave Zena her full attention. She had worked with crystalline physicians before and knew that their electromagnetic sensitivity could sometimes lead to overinterpretation of normal biological functions. But the level of distress in Zena's presentation suggested this might be genuine. "Take a breath and tell me what's happening," Helena said calmly. "Which patient are you referring to?" "Marcus Webb in room 247, Zena replied, her skin still shifting between warning colors. "He came in with back pain, but during the examination, I detected massive bioelectric surges and vascular changes in his pelvic region. The electromagnetic signatures suggest severe inflammation, possible blood flow obstruction, or neurological compromise." Helena raised an eyebrow, beginning to suspect what might be occurring. She had encountered similar situations before when alien medical staff with heightened sensory abilities worked with human patients for the first time. "Can you describe the specific electromagnetic patterns you detected?" Helena asked, standing up from her desk. Zena launched into a detailed technical description of the bioelectric readings, using precise medical terminology, while her crystalline skin continued to display her agitation. As she spoke, Helena's suspicions were confirmed, and she had to suppress a gentle smile. "Let's go take a look together," Helena suggested diplomatically. "Sometimes a second opinion can help clarify unusual readings." As they walked back toward Marcus's room, Zena continued expressing her concerns about the patient's condition, completely unaware that her extraordinary sensory abilities had led her to discover something that was entirely natural, completely harmless, and definitely not covered in any xenobiology textbook. Dr. Helena Reeves maintained her professional composure as she and Zena approached room 247, though internally she was preparing for what she suspected would be both a medical education moment and a delicate cultural discussion. She had guided several alien physicians through similar revelations over the years, each species bringing their own unique sensory capabilities and corresponding blind spots to human medicine. "Before we enter," Helena said gently, placing a reassuring hand on Zena's crystalline shoulder, "I want you to know that your observational skills are exceptional. Your electromagnetic sensitivity is clearly more refined than any diagnostic equipment we have in this facility." Zena's skin shifted to a hopeful green hue at the praise, though the underlying purple of her concern still flickered beneath the surface. "Thank you, Dr. Reeves. I just want to ensure Mr. Webb receives the appropriate care for what appears to be a serious condition." When they entered the room, Marcus was still lying in the same position, though the mild sedative he'd been given for his back pain had made him somewhat drowsy. He looked up at the two doctors with tired but alert eyes. "How are you feeling, Mr. Webb?" Helena asked kindly. "Any changes in your symptoms since Dr. Valthera's examination?" "Still pretty uncomfortable," Marcus replied with a slight slur from the medication. "The back pain is about the same, but I'm feeling a bit more relaxed thanks to whatever you gave me earlier." Helena began her own examination, starting with the standard neurological tests that Zena had already performed. She checked Marcus's reflexes, tested his range of motion, and assessed the areas where he was experiencing pain. Everything she observed confirmed the straightforward diagnosis of a herniated disc with nerve compression. As the examination progressed, Helena carefully observed both Marcus's responses and Zena's electromagnetic readings. The crystalline physician was still detecting the same bioelectric patterns that had caused her initial alarm, her skin maintaining its concerned purple coloration. During one particular movement that Helena requested, she noticed Zena's multifaceted eyes widen even further as her electromagnetic senses clearly picked up the same phenomena that had triggered her panic earlier. Helena then understood exactly what had happened. "Mr. Webb," Helena said professionally, "we're going to step outside for a moment to discuss your treatment plan. Is there anything you need for comfort right now?" "I'm okay for now, thanks," Marcus replied, settling back into his previous position. Once they were in the hallway, Helena turned to face Zena with a gentle, understanding expression. The crystalline physician was still radiating concern her, skin cycling through various shades of purple and amber as she waited for Helena's assessment of the serious condition she believed she had discovered. "Zena," Helena began carefully, "your electromagnetic readings are absolutely accurate. You detected exactly what was happening in that room." "Then we need to begin immediate treatment," Zena said urgently. "What condition are we dealing with? Should I prepare emergency protocols?" "No emergency protocols needed," Helena replied with a kind smile. "What you detected isn't a medical condition at all. It's a completely normal physiological response that occurs in human males, particularly during certain types of physical examinations or when experiencing physical discomfort." Zena's crystalline skin flickered from purple to confused silver as she processed this information. Normal? But the bioelectric surges, the vascular changes, the neural activity patterns, they were so intense. "Completely normal," Helena confirmed. "I realized this wasn't covered in your xenobiology courses because it's not a pathological condition. It's simply how human male physiology sometimes responds to various stimuli, physical, psychological, or even random occurrences throughout the day." The understanding began to dawn on Zena as her skin slowly shifted from silver to a deep blue. That indicated comprehension among her species. Her electromagnetic senses, which had seemed like such an advantage in diagnostics, had led her to interpret normal human biology as a medical emergency. "You mean this happens regularly?" Zena asked quietly, her chime-like voice barely above. A whisper. "Very regularly," Helena confirmed. "It's an involuntary response the humans can't control, and it's not something that requires any medical intervention. Your species doesn't experience anything similar, so there was no way for you to know it was normal." Zena's skin now displayed the deep amber that indicated embarrassment among crystallines. Her three-chambered heart, which had been racing with medical concern, now pounded with personal mortification. "I feel incredibly foolish. I spent so much time analyzing the electromagnetic patterns, searching for rare conditions that might explain what I was detecting." "Don't feel foolish at all," Helena said firmly. "Your response demonstrates exactly the kind of thorough patient care and attention to detail that makes an excellent physician. It's far better to be overly cautious and seek consultation than to miss something that could be genuinely serious." As they walked back toward the nurse's station, Helena began explaining some of the biological and cultural aspects of human physiology that weren't typically addressed in standard xenobiology curricula. She spoke matter-of-factly and professionally, helping Zena understand these normal human functions without adding to her embarrassment. Meanwhile, Marcus remained peacefully unaware of the diagnostic trauma that had unfolded around his case, resting comfortably while the medication helped manage his actual medical condition, the herniated disc that was causing his back and leg pain. The following morning, Zena arrived at Meridian General Hospital 2 hours before her scheduled shift, her crystalline skin displaying the determined silver-blue hue that indicated focused resolution among her people. She had spent most of the night reflecting on her mistake and had come to a crucial realization. Her advanced xenobiology education, while comprehensive in many areas, had significant gaps when it came to the practical realities of human medicine. She found Dr. Helena Reeves in the staff lounge, reviewing patient charts over her morning coffee. When Helena looked up and saw Zena's earnest expression, she knew the young crystalline physician had spent considerable time processing the previous day's events. "Good morning, Zena," Helena said warmly. "You're here quite early today. How are you feeling after yesterday's learning experience?" "Dr. Reeves, I've been thinking extensively about what happened," Zena replied, her skin shifting to the deep blue that indicated serious contemplation. "I realize that my medical education, while thorough in theoretical xenobiology, has left me unprepared for many practical aspects of human physiology. I don't want to make similar mistakes in the future." Helena nodded approvingly. In her years of supervising alien medical staff, she had learned that the best physicians were those who could acknowledge their limitations and actively seek to improve their knowledge base. "I was hoping you might approach it that way," Helena said. "Would you be interested in some supplementary training? I could arrange for you to work with Dr. James Morrison, our head of xenobiology. He specializes in helping non-human medical staff understand the practical applications of human medicine." Zena's multifaceted eyes lit up with enthusiasm, her skin brightening to an eager golden hue. "That would be invaluable. I want to understand every aspect of human biology so I can provide the highest quality care for my patients." Within hours, Helena had arranged for Zena to begin intensive supplementary training with Dr. James Morrison, a distinguished human physician who had dedicated his career to interspecies medical education. Dr. Morrison had worked with dozens of alien medical professionals over the years and had developed comprehensive curricula to address the unique challenges each species faced when treating humans. The key to understanding human physiology, Dr. Morrison explained during their first session, is recognizing that many biological responses are involuntary and serve various evolutionary purposes. These responses can occur during medical examinations, periods of stress, physical activity, or even without any apparent trigger. Zena took meticulous notes, her electromagnetic senses helping her create detailed mental maps of the bioelectric patterns Dr. Morrison described. She asked thoughtful questions about various scenarios she might encounter, wanting to understand not just what was normal, but how to differentiate between natural biological functions and genuine medical concerns. "In my species," Zena explained to Dr. Morrison, "our reproductive and physiological responses are entirely voluntary and controlled through conscious electromagnetic field manipulation. We don't experience these types of involuntary reactions. So when my sensors detected the bioelectric patterns in Mr. Webb, my only reference point was pathological conditions from my medical textbooks." "That makes perfect sense," Dr. Morrison replied understandingly. "Your reaction was actually quite appropriate, given your background knowledge and unique sensory abilities. The important thing is that you're expanding your understanding now." Meanwhile, back in room 247, Marcus Webb was making steady progress with his actual medical condition. The MRI results had confirmed Helena's diagnosis of a herniated disc pressing against the L5 nerve root. His treatment plan included anti-inflammatory medication, specialized physical therapy, and a series of exercises designed to reduce pressure on the affected nerve. Zena continued as his primary physician throughout his stay, and she found herself becoming increasingly confident as she applied her expanding knowledge of human physiology. Her electromagnetic sensitivity, properly informed by her new training, became an invaluable diagnostic tool that complemented traditional medical assessments. "You know, Doc," Marcus said to Zena during one of her daily check-ins, "I've been treated by a lot of different physicians over the years, but you really pay attention to details. Your approach is incredibly thorough." Zena felt a warm sense of professional pride at this compliment, though she also reflected on how her attention to detail had initially led to misinterpretation. She was learning that being observant was crucial, but equally important was having the proper knowledge framework to interpret those observations correctly. Dr. Morrison had also begun incorporating Zena's experiences into his broader training programs for alien medical staff. Her case had highlighted important gaps in standard xenobiology education that affected multiple species working in human medicine. "Your experience has been invaluable," Dr. Morrison told Zena during one of their sessions. "We're developing new protocols based on your feedback to better prepare alien physicians for the practical realities of human patient care." As Marcus's condition continued to improve, Zena developed comprehensive reference materials for herself and other alien medical staff. She created detailed electromagnetic signature databases for normal human physiological responses, cultural guidelines for sensitive medical discussions, and protocols for when to seek additional consultation on unfamiliar phenomena. Therapists reported that Marcus was responding excellently to treatment, with significant improvement in his pain levels and mobility. His recovery was proceeding exactly as predicted, and he would likely be able to return to work within a few more weeks with proper precautions and ongoing exercises. 3 months after the incident that had nearly derailed her confidence, Dr. Zena Velthera stood before a packed auditorium at the Galactic Medical Institute, her crystalline skin glowing with the confident gold hue that indicated mastery and achievement among her people. She was delivering the keynote address at the annual Interspecies Medical Conference, sharing insights that had transformed how alien physicians approached human patient care throughout the galaxy. "The greatest diagnostic tool we possess," Zena told the diverse audience of medical professionals from dozens of different species, "is not our advanced technology or unique biological abilities, but our willingness to acknowledge what we don't know and seek proper education to fill those gaps." In the audience, Dr. Helena Reeves and Dr. James Morrison smiled proudly as their former students shared the wisdom she had gained through experience, embarrassment, and dedicated learning. Zena had not only become one of the most skilled human medicine specialists in the sector, but she had also revolutionized training protocols for alien medical staff across multiple hospital systems. Back at Meridian General Hospital, Zena had been promoted to Director of Interspecies Medical Education, a position created specifically to address the training needs she had identified. Her comprehensive curriculum now prepared alien physicians for the practical realities of human medicine in ways that traditional xenobiology courses had never addressed. "Dr. Velthera," called out Dr. Quill Nethys, a newly arrived Andromedan physician with iridescent scales and compound eyes, "I'm starting my rotation in the human ward next week. I've heard about your training program. Could you help me prepare?" Zena's skin shifted to the warm amber that indicated mentorship joy among crystallines. Over the past months, she had guided dozens of alien medical professionals through their first experiences with human patients, helping them avoid the confusion and embarrassment she had initially experienced. "Of course, Dr. Nethys," Zena replied. "Let's start with the fundamental principle. Human biology involves many involuntary responses that serve evolutionary and physiological purposes. Your Andromedan water-based physiology will present unique interpretive challenges that we'll need to address specifically." As they walked through the hospital corridors together, Zena reflected on how dramatically her career had changed since that mortifying first day. The incident that had seemed like a professional disaster had actually become the foundation of her expertise and the catalyst for improvements in interspecies medical education throughout the galaxy. Marcus Webb had long since recovered and returned to his job as a mechanic, completely unaware that his routine back injury had sparked a revolution in alien medical training. He occasionally visited the hospital for follow-up appointments and always requested Dr. Velthera, praising her thorough and attentive care to anyone who would listen. The key insight, Zena explained to Dr. Nethys as they entered the human ward, is that every species brings both advantages and blind spots to cross-species medicine. My electromagnetic sensitivity gives me diagnostic capabilities that human physicians don't possess, but it also led me to misinterpret normal physiological responses as medical emergencies. Dr. Nethys listened intently, his compound eyes reflecting the shifting light patterns from Zena's crystalline skin. As an aquatic species, his own sensory abilities would present different challenges when working with land-dwelling humans. We'll start your training with the comprehensive database of normal human bioelectric signatures that I've compiled, Zena continued. This will help you differentiate between natural physiological responses and genuine medical conditions. We'll also cover cultural sensitivities and communication protocols for discussing various aspects of human biology. In her office, Zena kept a small holographic image of Marcus Webb's successful recovery, not as a reminder of her initial mistake, but as a symbol of how professional growth could emerge from moments of confusion and humility. Her electromagnetic sensitivity, properly educated and contextualized, had made her one of the most effective human medicine specialists in the galaxy. The training programs she had developed were now being implemented in medical schools across multiple star systems. Her research papers on interspecies diagnostic challenges had become required reading for xenobiology students, and her protocols had significantly reduced misdiagnoses and cultural misunderstandings in cross-species medical care. As the day ended and the hospital settled into its night shift routine, Zena reflected on the journey that had brought her to this point. The young crystalline physician, who had once panicked over normal human physiology, had evolved into a confident leader in interspecies medicine, helping bridge the gap between different forms of life through education, understanding, and the courage to admit when she didn't know something. Her crystalline skin glowed softly with contentment as she reviewed the next day's schedule, which included training sessions with 3 new alien physicians, a research consultation on Rigelian cardiac responses, and a follow-up appointment with a human patient whose complex case would benefit from her unique electromagnetic diagnostic abilities. The embarrassing mistake that had once seemed like the end of her medical career had instead become the beginning of her greatest professional achievements, proving that sometimes the most valuable learning experiences come from the moments when we discover how much we still have to learn.